Houghton had meetings in there before. Someone usually kind of hangs out in the lobby and can let people in as they need to.
Okay,
People can also park across the street over in Trinity. Not ideal, but they
right.
could do that. You were thinking of Houghton otherwise?
Yeah, or, the school, but with their events going on, I don't think it'll be available.
Yeah.
And it'd be a big room for the people that number of people that we're expecting.
In the school cafeteria, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that would be. Um, I mean, I think we can certainly make the public safety building work. Um,
I just
I
wanted to
don't,
get everyone's opinion if you've had experience doing the Houghton building with that type. We'd need to bring in tables and
yeah, Houghton, I think you would just, I mean, depending on the exercise. So I guess that was the other thing we should sort of talk about. So this was the four-step handout that you included in the last email.
yes, yeah.
And so the point of this is to lay out things on it. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know if do they have small folding tables or anything in the at Houghton? I've actually never looked for that.
Not there. We could
No.
probably, I know the recreation department has a few we can borrow. So we can bring them in, but I don't think there's
Yeah.
any in the building itself.
What about the public
Um,
safety building? Is there anything over there?
Yeah,
oh
they
yeah,
have a number of tables and we're able to rearrange them. They're all on wheels.
yeah, they're
And
movable
they have
tables.
a
They're great.
built-in projector and screen.
That
Um,
sounds like a much better option, frankly.
I thought so too. It's a easier place to have a meeting. It's just that the parking and the building access are a little difficult,
Yeah,
but
Well,
not
and I
prohibitive.
as Michael says, if we can have somebody there letting people in, that works. And between Trinity Church and the parking by the fields, I would think that we would have enough.
I think we can make that work.
How many people does the room hold?
I don't know that we can easily get 20, 25 people in there.
Yeah,
I
it's a
didn't
good
check.
sized room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should
Um,
think that would do it. Um,
and now the only question was whether um whatever's going on at the school is at something at the school on June 12th. Is that
I think they're having an event at the Common, is what I was told.
I haven't seen that. Um,
The um Parks and Recreation coordinator informed me of it today, actually.
well, in terms of parking, even in the extreme, people could park over at Florence Sawyer and walk diagonally across the field. I would suspect that wouldn't be required, but
I mean, Trinity will have more than enough
it's
parking for,
huge.
yeah,
It
yeah.
really is.
I mean, and that's literally right across the street. So I don't think, I think that building is fine. I think the only question is um, whether you think we're gonna suffer people not going because there's something else on the 12th. And I don't know how much of an overlap you're gonna have between, you know, people with young kids at the common and people coming out to this,
Hmm.
probably. So
I don't know.
I
I'd go
think,
for it the way it is.
yeah,
Okay.
I, I'd
I just wanted to
I'd say
make
we just
sure.
do it, and yeah,
Yeah, and we had the 50th anniversary meeting of the trust on Sunday at Trinity, and suffice it to say, there was more than adequate parking. And we had a bunch of people. But as long as there isn't a service going on, you're in pretty good shape.
Do we
Is the
also have
library not
to,
available?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is the library not available?
No, the library's under, they're doing some
Oh,
construction,
okay.
and so the community room wasn't available for the next few months.
Yeah, they had to tear up the whole floor in order to rebuild the bathroom systems.
that's too bad. I mean, that is the ideal spot, but
Oh, it is.
public safety building, it'll be fine for this.
Do we have to prepare any materials? I thought I said, I thought I saw it said we needed M&Ms. Is that
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we
I'll
do.
Okay.
Yeah,
it did.
those
Okay,
are the
I'll-
buildings.
right, okay.
Yeah, I'll get all the materials together.
And we do need to have a fairly concentrated PR program to get it up on not only the town website, but in the Independent, in the Item, and on Facebook. And we can use the same general information to do all of the above.
I missed the very beginning. So you were saying what day and what time? I missed the,
June
12th.
12th.
Yeah.
5
And
to
what-
7, what time were we thinking? We were talking about doing pizza.
Yep.
I mean, that time, I mean, you guys can have it, but that wouldn't be possible for me at all. I mean, I'm not free before 7 any day of the week with work.
7 to 9 might be a little late, in my
I mean, that's
opinion.
fine. You
Yeah.
know, I'm working crazy hours, so I understand, you know. Also, I mean, I would think like, I don't know. 5 to 7 is tough for people with, I mean, you're just going to get people who don't have kids, I would think.
Well, they'll be at the con.
Yeah, they'll be at the concert anyway.
We could do
Could
6
we
to
do
8.
6 to 8? Yeah,
We could do 6 to 8.
I think
Okay,
6 to
probably.
8 makes more sense, particularly people who have
Yeah,
that end up roughly at 5.
okay. And then we'll probably need an hour to set up beforehand.
Yep.
so should we plan to get there at 5 then to help set up?
I will be.
I'm gonna get there at 5. I don't know. You can get there as you're available. I'll bring all the materials, and we have to set up the room ourselves and then return it to its condition as when we found it. So I don't think it's a big deal. Everything's on wheels. So it should be relatively easy to condense the tables and arrange the chairs. And I'm gonna go a few days ahead of time and ensure the projector's working and all the materials will show on the screens, that type of thing.
And Randall's gonna show up with all the plot plans and stuff that he uses.
No, well, I think he's planning on using the presentation that was in the PDF, and he requested we bring the copies. Some of them have to be printed in a larger size, and they're going to be written on and kind of interactive. You probably would know, be more familiar with it, Bob. It sounds like it's the same format as you went through in Harvard.
Yeah, I mean, he used pretty much E-size drawings, pretty much full table drawings for the exercise.
He suggested 11 by 17 at minimum, but I can print them at any size.
No, we used a lot bigger than 11 by 17 in Harvard,
Yeah.
and that made
Okay.
it a whole lot easier.
We have a large plotter, so I am able to do that in town hall.
No, that's great. Nice to finally have that in the last couple.
Yeah.
Okay, so June 12th, 6 to 8, public safety building.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to discuss about that?
No, I
And
just
Pam, you and I ought to talk about the PR aspect of this and put
Sure.
together a standard thing and run it by Mike.
Lauren Ducott, the land use administrator, she put together a flyer, one-page
Oh.
flyer. I just have to add the date and the location. We had it formerly at the Houghton building, so I'll
No, that's
revise
great.
that.
Good.
Okay, anything else on that?
Nope. I don't have anything unless you have questions. The description of the format seemed pretty explanatory, and then the graphics he uses. So we're just responsible for printing the material. we'll have to order food and discuss where we're going to get that from.
And this isn't something, I mean, would we want to have people RSVP for this or express interest in it somehow to gauge sort of what we'd expect?
We can do that. I just know, like Eric, when we did that EDC business gathering, we requested people RSVP, and then if they didn't get a chance to do
Yeah.
it, we didn't get a lot of RSVPs, but then people expressed that they were planning on attending, even though they didn't respond, and it ended
Yeah,
up being
okay.
canceled. And
Yeah, I think if that's true. I think if you RSVP for something like this, people suddenly remember they didn't and think they can't come.
I can do a appreciated but not mandatory
Yeah, that's a good idea.
disclaimer.
Mhm. Okay, I think, okay, so that's good for that. The only other items are approval of minutes. And I'll start with the February 28th minutes. They look good to me, so I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 28th, 2024.
So moved.
Mike Gore,
Aye.
Bob Romer,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
Austin Groner,
Aye.
Eric Nyland.
Aye.
Minutes passed by a vote of 5-0.
And I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 13th, 2024.
Seconded.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
Austin Groner,
Aye.
and Eric, it looks like you were absent for that meeting.
Okay.
So we'll abstain from the vote, and the minutes passed by a vote of 4-0.
All right. So that's kind of the end of the formal agenda. One thing that I forgot to put on this agenda is we typically do board reorganization after town meeting.
Oh, okay.
So we can certainly discuss that. I'd be happy to let someone else chair for the upcoming year. So if people have interest, I mean, typically, Jim, the vice chair would take over. If that's something you're interested in doing, we can. Pressure.
Mike, we're great supporters of your performance over the last year and appreciate
Yeah.
Jim's willingness in the next 12 months to further consider the opportunity.
Well, yeah, so we don't need to make any decisions tonight, but if someone would like to grab the mantle and enjoy all the power that leadership confers, then feel free. Okay, so unless anyone else has any other things they'd like to discuss.
Eric, I think you're up for re-election.
Yep.
So you'll be on the ballot unopposed.
Yeah. Hopefully a couple people vote for me. Or maybe there'll be a great writing candidate, so I'll be
Yeah,
free.
no, I haven't seen much of that.
And then just to
Maybe
keep
I'll-
you updated on the master plan, we're reviewing drafts of the chapters. We've been through 1-4. We're currently reviewing 5-7. And we're meeting May 23rd to go over the remainder chapters and kind of start to wrap things up. So hopefully it'll be before you over the summer. And we'll give you plenty
will
of
give a
time to
great sigh
read
of
each
relief.
chapter in detail.
Well, looking forward to it, and hopefully we can, it's definitely been a few years since we've had any significant bylaws brought up to town meeting. So, that's definitely what I hope we can do this year is get some things passed,
Yeah.
start making some progress.
So I would like to talk about what Mike was just saying. It, is there anybody else on the board that would like to, or Mike, would you like to continue to be the chair?
I will, if no one else wants to do it, I will continue doing it. If someone else would like to do it, I would happily step aside. And, it's a good experience. You'll have a different relationship with Pam and some of the members of town. And so, I've enjoyed doing it. It's a little bit more work, but not an insane amount. I typically haven't done it as in the past because I would be coaching baseball in the spring and I missed a lot of meetings. So, but I wasn't doing that this year. So,
I mean, is there a, I almost want to say like a succession plan when it seems like a lot, like in the past 6 months, there have been a lot of, meetings and everything else that you attended and everything that, does anybody else on the board have an interest? I mean, I'll I don't want to put my name out there for it. I'm not sure. 'Cause right now I'm in the middle of a lot of personal stuff and everything else like that, but it's I will agree with Rob that Mike, you're a great chairman. So I would it's
thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, and our rules are, I mean, it's just kind of a typical thing that we do a reorg after the town meeting, but I mean, as a board, we can decide whenever we want to move things around. So, if you feel like you've got more flexibility coming up later in the year, we can certainly do something like that. I'm amenable to anything. I'm not, yeah. I mean, I think there's a few things that I'd like to see happen at next town meeting, but I don't need to be chair to do those. So
Right.
I'm willing to work with everybody.
as of right now in my own personal stuff, I cannot take on the
Tonight, batting six, Romy Gonzalez, as well said, making his first major league start at first.
Eric, you're playing the Red Sox game.
I thought we were getting bombed for a minute.
Well, sort of.
So
Yeah, I mean, take some time and you can think about it, Jim, and we can certainly discuss it at next meeting or whenever.
all right, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out to me separately, we can talk about it too. So,
And I'm having a wonderful time with the law committee.
are you guys keeping busy? I imagine.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. If anyone else has anything they'd like to discuss.
Just one random thing that somebody who lives in Bolton, I met this person at ironically a soccer game with one of my kids. I think his name is Scott, and he's involved with the Bolton Youth Soccer. He actually made a comment to me. I think he was on the board a couple of years ago, but he was saying that right across from the high school would be a perfect place for some kind of development. So I thought it was rather interesting that a lot of people in town seem to have the same opinion about where to put future businesses. So just kind of just through the grapevine,
It's good to hear. And I think people will feel that even more once the Rotary goes in there and it's not such a death trap of an intersection. So.
And that's one of the areas that the master plan was going to suggest, and I'm not sure we'll make a specific suggestion to implement our focused area review to look at that whole area and think about how it could be used and since it is appropriately zoned, that makes a lot of sense as well. So I think that's something that maybe we as a board want to consider doing a fairly detailed review and understanding the implications and making some recommendations, perhaps of the extent and type of zoning, et cetera.
Well, I mean, we spoke, I don't know if it was last week or last meeting or the time before that about kind of the DPW and if that could, I mean, in an ideal world, that gets moved somewhere else, frees up that land. We zone it business and then we have a pretty good, area right there that could have some development in it. Yeah, I am all for that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, same here.
And there's a
And
bit of
the-
chess game in that as well about what do we do with the DPW, because it's not only just moving them. Randy Haglund and his team need much more space.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's like, that's the thing is they've long outgrown that space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Community Preservation Act was a big thing that's been discussed too during the master plan. I don't know if the planning board, if you've discussed that as a board in the past or not. Seems like it's failed previously.
Well, it's failed at the polls. It's passed at town meeting. And again, I think it has a lot to do with the way it's presented.
Mhm.
Bolton being Bolton, anything that looks like a tax is immediately defined as a tax, regardless of what the upside is. And once a town meeting vote occurs, there's a lot of quick proselytizing against taxes, and it fails at the polls. But I think again, it's sort of like the overlay and a cottage approach, that it needs to be better explained and more appropriately publicized. The other side of it, Pam, is when we first started this conversation about the CPA, the state component was much, much larger. And since a large number of towns, including some very large towns east of us, have picked it up, I believe the percentage has gone down.
Mhm.
So that needs to be looked at as well.
Just as another project update, we're gonna have a public forum for the Derby Field improvements at the school on March 30th at 3:45. It's gonna be, hopefully the weather will be nice. We're gonna have some things set up outside and the kind of schematics of the improvements and a little walkthrough of the area with the consultant and the Derby Field team.
That's good.
Hoping to garner some public input and some support for that project. We
When
did
is
receive
that,
an
Pam?
amendment to the grant for additional funding to complete stormwater calculations. So that's being done by Hannigan Engineering currently, and that's part of this fiscal year. So all that work will be completed by June 30th. And Rebecca, the conservation agent, submitted another MVP grant application for the construction costs, so we can proceed with implementing the project. So we're hoping to hear some good news on that.
Great. When did you say that forum was scheduled for?
March 30th. I'm sorry, May. Did I say March? May 30th at 3:45.
So is the plan to redo drainage on that field? Is that one of the issues with it? Is that I know the soil's very compacted and hard there, right? That's part of the problem.
Yeah, it's compacted and hard. There's no irrigation for the field itself, and it was never really seeded and laid properly. So it's going to be to do the irrigation and lay the soils and plant more resilient turf that's both climate resilient and more durable. So it'll stand up to the use. It's a highly used field, and it's just become matted down. And then in addition to that, there's going to be this is the hopes, I guess, a walking trail around the perimeter of the field with fencing, lighting, and a native edible garden planted to the side along the wetland area. for people to walk through, a small trail that will connect to the abutting trails that go off to the south of the site, as well as come in from the Bolton Manor area.
That's great.
And the trust highlighted that in their walk, which was in that area.
Oh, good.
Sunday.
That's great. Yeah, it'll incorporate some signage and seating for the field as well. There's no seating around the perimeter.
Oh, they are going to put seating in? Oh, excellent.
That's part of the project, yes.
Yeah.
MVP is mostly for climate change information, so climate change projects. So whether they'll fund the fencing and lighting and seating areas is uncertain.
Yeah.
So we have to wait and see, and that we may need to secure or seek additional funding for those aspects of the project.
Okay. Anything else people want to discuss?
Just the Cultivate facility is expecting to open the 1st of July. I'll keep you informed of that timeline as it moves forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard they got the
Environmental
final.
pool sign was approved at the last Board of Selectmen meeting.
Are they going to put something other than their bed sheet up or whatever's on there right now?
Yes.
Looks
And,
very rural.
We haven't received any applications yet for the apartments at 580 Main Street. But the business the renovations to the business office, the demolition and construction of the new parking lots proceeding.
Does the select board approve any signage, or is it just signage that's kind of separate from the building?
Any signage.
Any
Okay,
sign,
even
yeah.
even on a building, okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
I've noticed a lot of questions come up about what complies with the bylaw in regards to signage. That's something that I have on our to-do list to take a look at.
We changed something on it a few years ago. Or we tried to. I don't remember the details of it, but
Yeah, was that the string around the perimeter as a result of Hebert Candies?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
No.
Hebert came in and said they had a sign that had just the letters, standalone letters cut out, and that the area should only be the face of the letters, not the sign itself. And that immediately got fixed with, no, you got to run a string around the outside.
I don't remember that. Okay, well, if there's nothing else to discuss, I will make a motion to adjourn for this evening.
Seconded.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Okay, thank you,
Thanks.
everyone. We'll talk later, 2 weeks, I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good
Bye,
night.
Pam.
Aye.
Bye.